It is my privilege to have a few moments with you today and to tell you that as a United Methodist member of Wesley Memorial in High Point, I have such great appreciation for what youth ministers and youth directors do in the local church. When I was in college back at High Point College in those days, I actually was a youth minister, youth program director really in a number of churches in this area. And I was frustrated that I didn't have the material to do with my young people. Our program grew from 15 young people to about 150 young people. And when I graduated from college, I actually began a company called Adventures with Youth that published a magazine that went to youth directors and ministers across America, all kinds of denominations. Eventually, I had 62,000 subscribers to our materials in 38 countries around the world. We published books on games and Bible study and retreat ideas and all the rest. I tell you this to say that I've been there, I've walked the walk. I've had the experience of being a youth director, one of the greatest experiences of my life indeed. Any time that you or I can be blessed enough to impact the lives of young people, to plant seeds of greatness in their minds, their hearts, and their souls, to show them that they can be someone important in life because God breathed in their nostrils and gave them life. And they could take that oxygen and turn it into something marvelous, something extraordinary. That's what you do. What a blessing it is to have you in your role in your church. Thank you for all that you do. It's not easy, but it is fulfilling. You're influencing their lives and you're impacting their future. As president of Hype University, I acknowledge every day that our relationship with the United Methodist Church is paramount. It is the foundation of all that we do, all that we believe, all that we follow, all that we model. Our relationship with the Western Conference of the United Methodist Church is of high importance to all of us. I am delighted to know that our university and the Western Conference work together through Dr. Ward, to Reverend Preston Davis, to bring forth these programs to you and to others. This is your university, and we want to be part and parcel of what you do every day. And we want to invite your students in your churches to come and enroll at Hype University. At least come and visit. If you want to see excellence, come on this campus and take a look. This is a God, family, and country school. We shout it from the mountaintop. We do not deny our affiliation with the United Methodist Church. We uphold it. We honor it. And likewise, we honor you. So I hope that you will come visit us. I hope that your students will come visit us. We always love having United Methodist students on our campus. We have a ton of them, by the way, who come not only from the Western Conference, but they come from all 50 states of the Union. Some 5,600 students from 60 countries in every state, 50 states of our union and District of Columbia. So thank you for what you do. Continue your relationship with us at Hype University, and may God always bless you in your goings and in your comings, because what you do truly plants seeds of greatness in the lives of your young people. May God bless you.
Hey, my name is Seth Hatherley, and I'm a senior here at High Point University. I'm studying media production and entrepreneurship. I'm from a small town in far west North Carolina called Hayesville. I moved there when I was in first grade. My dad's a United Methodist pastor, and so he got moved to Hayesville First United Methodist Church, and so I grew up there all my life. I discovered High Point University through my sister who went here. She's 2 years older than me, and now she works here. But I came here and I have loved it. I love my time here, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit more about High Point University to hopefully allow you to connect some bridges between the two. But I am involved in a couple different areas here on campus. I am a facility manager for the recreation department here. We provide services for the students such as intramurals, a gym, different social excursion trips to NBA games or ski trips, different things like that, a lot of things that can get students involved. And I really love my job there because I am particularly in the student center. I help run the gym, and so the social aspect of it I really, really enjoy because I get to meet all kinds of different people because I'm right in the midst of all the hustle and bustle of every day. So that's really, really fun. And it's really helped me grow personally in my professional ways because I'm in charge of other student employees. I have a lot of different responsibilities. After the faculty leave, I'm the one in charge. So it's really, really cool to be able to grow in that sort of way. Another job I have here on campus is with the chapel and religious offices. I'm a multimedia assistant for the chapel services, and I'm also involved in a club called the Board of Stewards, which is open to all students. Anyone can apply. And we run the weekly chapel services here on campus, and we do different philanthropy events, and we do different fundraisers, and it's really cool to be involved in a club that, every week we get to make a chapel service happen. We have 2 chapel services here on campus, one on Wednesday, one on Sunday. The Wednesday is more of a traditional chapel service, whereas the Sunday one is more of a contemporary, very student-led. We have a student band that leads it every week, and they do awesome. It's so amazing to go there and worship with them. But it's really cool to be involved in these different aspects of the chapel and worship, because this is a really transformative time for individuals as they go into college. They're becoming independent for the first time. And so it's really cool to have faith such interwound within what you're doing here as you're going to school. It was definitely important to me because I didn't know I was going to find such a community here. But I did, and it really helped me grow, and it really helped me grow in my spirit and my faith. And also, High Point University just really helps with the different professional, social, and spiritual aspects all tied into one. So that's just a little bit about me. That's a little bit more about High Point University. I hope that I was able to help you make some connections and bridges between what we do here, and hopefully get you a little bit excited about learning more.
Welcome to Hayworth Chapel on the campus of High Point University. My name is Preston Davis, and it has been the honor of my life to get to be minister at the university at HPU for the last 7 years. To be in ministry with millennials, Gen Z, young adults, and to see them become the people they're called to be. And so I'm incredibly grateful for the work that you do as youth pastors, because you look into the hearts of these young people. You help shape their hearts and what's of worth and value and what their lives can be about. And then you send them my way and to be a part of the ministry that's here, and we don't take it for granted. We know that all lives we come into contact with are great gifts, and we want to be stewards of those gifts. So thank you. You are helping, I think of it in 2 ways. One, prepare the church of tomorrow. You're ethnographers of the future, of the kind of leaders we'll have for the future. But that's only half the story. Our students, your students, those you're in ministry with, they're not simply the church of the future, they're the church of the now. And you being in ministry with your students now takes so much skill, compassion, interest in them. Thank you. I want to share with you some philosophy and framework we have for the ministry that we do in Hayworth Chapel and the Religious Life Office here at High Point University. And we hope that it might be of helpful to you. And if it's of help to the ministry that you do with young people, please use it. We've been able to shape our philosophy from hearing and listening to the hearts of the young people that we work with, hearing their aspirations, hearing their fears, walking alongside them of their journey of faith. We have an overriding ambition, and it's to create a beloved community through the chapel community. To create a place where everyone knows deep to their core that they are beloved of God. It's an extension of Dr. King's great dream for humanity. But we have 3 core commitments for fostering that beloved community. And that is radical belonging, helping students become who they're called to be, and beholding God's grace at work in our lives. Belonging, becoming, beholding. I think in part when we've listened to young adults, just as you probably listen to your students, We've become attuned to the great rise in fear and mental health issues that are going on in younger generations. There's more access to information, more distractions, more noise than there's ever been before. And our students are caught in those sea billows. And so when we hear them, I think of this first commitment of belonging. Perhaps more than any other generation before, we have young adults who feel isolated, who feel lonely. And it's a driving cause for some of the deep angst within younger generations. Johann Hari, he's got this incredible book called Lost Connections. I commend it to you. And he diagnoses this loneliness, this isolation in some ways, and he says that how sinister it is that when one settles into this place of loneliness and isolation, the very problem of it is that it spirals one downward and makes one skeptical, cynical about even belonging or deeper connections with humanity, with others. It's so problematic because one becomes actually skeptical of the very medicine that could cure them. This plays out what Mother Teresa said ages ago, is that if we don't have peace, it's that we've forgotten we belong to one another. How fundamental is the ministry that you do with young folks? You're an outpost of grace in a sea of isolation and loneliness. You get to delight in your students and those that you get to do ministry with. You get to look upon them and love them. And you get to practice the very core of our faith, which is faith begins, as another theologian said, when you accept that you are already accepted. Help people realize they belong before they believe they belong. When I think back on my youth, one of the things I adore most is thinking of the friendships that I had of friends who knew me before I even knew myself. This is a habit. It's a practice of belonging. And we need retraining in how to do it. We need retraining in belonging to one another because we've lost touch with how to do it. It's at once a reality and it's aspirational. I think of something we offer for students every fall and spring break. An associate and myself or some others, we take students on a pilgrimage. And these are far-flung places and they're local places. Sometimes they're Asheville. Sometimes they are like last year. We took students on the Camino de Santiago, which is an ancient pilgrimage across northern Spain. And we introduced students to issues of social justice, economic justice, racial justice, and deep contemplative practices in a way of pilgrimage, of examining their own heart and the God who walks with them, even through the valley of the shadow of death. Now, on this Camino that we did as students, they were emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, spiritually exhausted when they got done. And they let us know it when they did a survey on feedback. This was similar to other surveys we'd gotten. We'd gotten critical feedback before of things we could do better, of trips going too long. And here's what I want you to hear and why this is important. Even after we got some raw feedback from students, 5-6 months later, we offer the next pilgrimage. Those who gave us most critique, those are ones who are signing up again for another pilgrimage experience. As if they realize the very thing that has torn them has actually grown them. The very thing that they had some skepticism of is the very thing they lean into more and go, I need more of that. The reality of belonging, it's real before we even realize it. Get to help one another belong again to one another and to practice God's great dream for us. If belonging is good, it really is only the beginning. I mean, one could really belong to a group of scoundrels. But if you realize that God meets you right where you are, and that's amazing grace, God takes you on this further journey for who you're supposed to become. If belonging does battle with the temptation to isolation, this next habit of ours, this commitment of helping students become who they're called to be, is to do battle with this temptation of shallow forms of calling in our culture. The temptation and the pressure is so great for lives that glitter, lives that are solely about success, lives that are solely about ambition, lives that are about getting that corner office, that we see within our students again and again this dragginess that they have no longer become people, but they have become projects. And we get to help students discover a deeper calling. The career is important, sure. The vocation in that narrow sense is important about what skill sets one might get, but it's penultimate. It's not ultimate. No, ultimate is to hear within Micah 6:8. When students say, what should I do with my life? We can rest in those words of Scripture of, O mortal, God has shown you what is good and what you should do, but do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with God. So many of our students get so focused on a what, they forgot so much of their life is about a how. David Brooks says that another way, says that we've become so committed to resume virtues that we've forgotten that most of life is about eulogy virtues. And eulogy virtues, long-spanning virtues, are about how to be in the world. Depth of compassion, mirroring God's grace into the world. It helps me often just think about 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I don't know how many of you have done weddings that you've said it again and again. Love is patient, love is kind, love is never envious or boastful. It goes on and on and on. But listen to how it ends, and this is really Methodist. It's that when I was a child, I thought I was a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. And what Paul's writing about there is actually to practice being this person of love is to really grow up. It's to really become who you're supposed to be. How amazing that we can help our students in these young lives that we come across, to help them reorder their loves, to see who they're supposed to be in this world, no matter what they do. For me, the thing that centers all of this is this final principle for us, this commitment to behold God's grace in our midst. You know, whenever behold shows up in Scripture, it's most often in places of where there should be fear. Like, do not be afraid, behold, for I bring you good news of great joy. And this is interesting. If you unpack the Greek in the Scripture there, that verse and others where it says behold, behold means to see rightly. We have to help our students see what is of worth, what is of value, who they are and who others are. Perhaps what God's will is for their life. It's grand. It's ambitious in some ways, but gosh, it's so worthy. The other way to think about it is, I think about it in this environment within education. Just like becoming and the pressure that's put on students to have certain lives that look a certain way, and their education can become about crafting skill sets to get them a certain kind of life. And Dr. King's words chasing me often. He says, we live in this time of guided missiles but misguided men. Well, I don't want my students to be the kind of people who have skill sets to create guided missiles, but to be misguided men and women. What is it to have the brains and the skills to create something like that if you don't have the depth of conscience and heart to see who you're supposed to be? We get to help them see and see better. And resting in Scripture as well to do that. And so one's education, skills are good, knowledge is good, but again, it's penultimate. Education should be an awakening. It should be about awe and wonder. Simon Sinek, who's an author of Leaders Eat Last, Golden Circle, incredible leadership material, he did an interview recently where he talked about this anxiety that's plaguing young adults and the expectations they have for life and how things don't often work out the way they thought and the impact they thought they were going to have, and it hollows them out. He says it gets to a point that our young adults, as they grow up, someone's going to ask them, how are you doing? And the best that they're going to be able to muster is, I'm fine. We've got to have better eyes than that. We've got to have better hearts than that. We've got to have communities that create a sense, not even a sense, real belonging, so that we're more than fine. That we're people of awe and wonder. We're people who, even as we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, will fear no evil, for thou art with us. People who know how to be courageous because they've experienced a great love. And so these are the core commitments we have to our community. Whatever we do, are we doing those three things? And I pray that they might be helpful in the ministry that you do with young adults. That you help them realize they belong, that they are accepted before they may even accept themselves. That they can go on a further journey of who God calls them to be. And that you behold God's grace in all that you do, for it is a gift, this odd and wondrous calling that we have in ministry. So God bless you and keep you. God bless and keep those you serve. And I look forward to the times that we can talk and be in ministry with one another. Go in peace.
Hey everyone, I'm Sophie Carter, and today I was sharing with you the reason I'm at HPU and the reason why God called me here. So, and I think God has called me here because everyone has the same why. Like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I even experiencing this? It's because of God. The people I've met, including Preston and just people on the board, is the reason why they do everything and the root that they have is in Jesus. Knowing Jesus and just building a relationship with Him is the reason why I thrived at HPU. I even remember the first chapel service, and taking 3 deep breaths with Andre just really helped me. And in those breaths, God entered my body, and I've been a new person in that. So, and that's why the chapel community and the HPU community has really helped me become the person I am. Thank y'all.
Hi, it's me again. One last thing. I'm sure as you're watching this, and we're hopeful that you'll talk with your students about thinking about High Point University as an option for them, but you're thinking probably, maybe some of you, isn't it really expensive? I know that all of us who are in higher education take this really seriously, and we want to make education more affordable. And so I want to tell you about some options that might help your student in thinking about higher education. There's tons of resources if they're a United Methodist student through some place like High Point University, through our financial aid office, but also through the General Board of Higher Education and Ministry. Please look at their website for more information. But I want to tell you about one thing that I think could be of really helpful for your students. And it's called Dollars for Scholars. And it's offered by United Methodist Higher Education Foundation. And what this does essentially is that, say you have a student at First United Methodist Church who decides that they want to come to High Point University. Well, they go to First United Methodist Church, their pastor, and they say they want to go. Well, that church, if they can offer $1,000 to that student to go to High Point University, that student then can then go to the United Methodist Higher Education Foundation, and they'll match it for $1,000. And then High Point University will match another $1,000. And then our local Western North Carolina foundation, the conference and foundation, will match another $1,000. And so that's $4,000 a year, $16,000 over the course of 4 years that can really help a student go a long way to paying for higher education. For more information, we hope you'll look at our Office of Student and Financial Planning, but also the United Methodist Higher Education Foundation, which links, you can see the links in the lower part of this screen. Thank you again for your time. We are grateful for the ministry that you do, and we look forward to the ministry that we do again in the future. God bless you and keep you.